Welcome back to our podcast where we talk about all things. It's giving beauty,
fashion,
pop culture, and a lot of kiki. I'm your pop culture baddie.
And your fashionable Scorpio.
So join us, Mommy Tiff
And Chan.
as we get feminine chaotic.
What?
It's the name of the podcast, Feminine Chaos. Duh.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Hi, lovers.
I'm Chan.
And I'm Tiff.
And this is the Feminine Chaos Podcast.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We're here with another episode.
Yeah.
Is this 10?
It's 9. We're almost there.
It's 9.
They say most podcasts don't make it past episode 10. But this one's going to make it past episode 10.
We're making it to episode 3,000.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to be on season 95 before y'all know.
We're going to be 95 still doing the podcast.
Absolutely. How was your week?
It was good. I feel like so much happened this past week. I had an amazing brand deal with L'Oreal and Sephora, which I was very excited about. Shout out to my girl Yante for connecting me.
Yante at the Scene Group.
Yes. Shout out
Manager of influencer and partnerships.
Specializing in the micro girlies, the nano girlies, okay? Tap into your small creators, period.
Tap in. Also, since we're doing shout outs, Yante got me a couple products too, a couple gifted things.
Nice.
The girls got some Aesop, and the girls have some new things in the works.
All right, it's coming up. So stay tuned. Make sure to follow me and Chan, of course, on social media to see what we got going on. But yeah, that was a fun, like, me and her actually worked on the content together. It was a fun shoot. It was giving very much Sex in the City. And as most of y'all know, if you have Netflix, all of the Sex in the City seasons are up on there now. I am rewatching for the millionth time. Yes, as a Gen Zer, I am looking at Carrie like a little crooked, a little cross-eyed now being an adult.
Crooked was a Carrie. Carrie
Crooked
is
Carrie.
a little, yeah, no, Crooked Carrie for real is not a lot of boy crazy, and let it get in the way of a lot of the other things that she had going on. But that's her business. That
is her business. Listen, there's a little bit, I feel like, when I watch the show, I feel like there's a little bit of each character in me. Like, there's certain times where I'm like, damn, I'm so Carrie for this. Or like, damn, I'm so Samantha for this. Right. I'm so Samantha for rarely am I ever Charlotte, but
I'm Samantha down.
I'm weak. I feel like I'm a crossbreed between Samantha, Carrie, and Miranda. But I feel like later on in my life, it might be giving Charlotte.
Okay. Like, and just like that, Charlotte?
I feel like because of Charlotte's character, she really just didn't settle. And that's why I fucked with Charlotte. Like, the most, because you can sit there and be like, she dated all these different men. Okay, and she had standards and she wanted them fulfilled. Period. And it's giving that. So, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had this week. You know, work is work.
Work is work.
As Sach would say, the president of the Barbs. Work is work.
Sachin.
How was your week, Miss Culture Con?
We had CultureCon on campus
this
past week.
Where was that at?
It was the first one ever. We were in Atlanta. We were in Atlanta, girl. With American Deli and the schools with the AUC. It was on Clark Atlanta's campus.
Period.
And it was so nice. This is the work I quite literally am in love with.
Period.
Amazing shout out to Imani and the team.
At CCNY.
At the CCNYC. But I'm really excited because this was also my first CultureCon. If nobody knows that, I could never get a ticket to the bigger one, but this was my first CultureCon. And I'm glad it was on the smaller scale and with the students. And then, I don't know, shout out to Amari. Amari, if you're listening to this, seeing you was like a highlight of my day. I'm so glad I saw him. Y'all tap into Amari Arundel. Okay. He is an amazing photographer. He did that viral Polaroid of Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. He did Serena Williams Polaroid.
Okay.
The work is working. Shout out my cousin Jordan. I got to see my baby cuz. I miss her. I love her so much. Yeah, so I did that, but I've just been so back and forth. Also, y'all, I saw Challengers. We did a screening for Challengers.
Oh, y'all are making me sick. I want to see that movie so bad. Shout out Zendaya.
It was phenomenal. Shout out MGM for sponsoring that and giving us the opportunity to see that and screen that before it came out. So just know I'm one of them elite employees.
Period.
Okay. But no,
I've been promoted.
I've been promoted for real. But the movie was really good.
Yeah.
It was very psychological.
I'm excited. It looks psychological, though.
I'm gonna go see it again because it was very loaded. I'm gonna go see it again, but I thought it was good. But other than that, girl, I'm tired.
No, I hear you. I forgot to mention, I did watch that Brandy Melville documentary this week.
We did, didn't we? We did. We watched it.
We might be talking about that on today's episode. If you've seen the title, it is giving very much Brandy Melville. So, with that being said, I think we should go ahead and get into the Pulse.
So before we get into the actual documentary, I just want to talk about the era.
Okay.
That was
2010s.
The 2010s. Tumblr. Brandy
California
Melville. Era Pastel.
Yes.
Abercrombie.
American Eagle.
The little shorts.
Hollister.
The little tops. And the thigh gaps, if you will.
Bralettes.
And the bralettes.
Bralettes.
And the flannels around the waist.
Yes.
Let's talk about that era.
Listen, so that was...
What did you look like? What apps did you have accounts to?
Ooh. So I definitely was a Tumblr girl.
Oh, me too.
I remember when I first got my Facebook and Tumblr account. And my Facebook, I feel like I documented my whole life on there. Like, you saw... If you
I wasn't a Facebook girly.
Okay, see, like...
I felt like... I don't know if this is a hot take, but I don't think Facebook is user-friendly.
So... Back in the day, the way like kids were using Facebook or teens were using Facebook, I feel like it was user friendly for me and what my friends were doing. Like me and my friends would create freaking photo albums off of anything. Like we would be hanging out. It's a photo album of said like time we hung out. Like I remember me and my close friend at the time, we had done a whole photo shoot of us in the dressing room trying on different dresses at Macy's. Okay, and we had made a whole series about.
And that was when Macy's was good.
Creation.
That was when Macy's used to be good.
No,
because the Macy's selection don't be there no more. But once upon a time, the Macy's and you know what? We're gonna get into this when we get more into the Brandy Melville of it all. But it's no more fashions for the tweens.
It's not. It's lacking.
Because Macy's,
it's
that
lacking.
tween section used to bust.
Listen.
There's no more tween clothing anymore. Everybody, why you got 12-year-olds shopping at Fashion Nova?
I don't like that for them.
And Shein.
Well, there are quote unquote tween fat. I just don't like the tween fashion right now.
What stores? I'm talking about stores and...
Oh, like stores you can go to the mall.
Remember how they had like Limited 2?
Right,
and then,
Justice.
Like,
but I feel like even with Limited 2 and Justice, that's still kind of like more elementary. At least that's when I was wearing the clothes.
No, Limited 2 was like, I would say that was like 12 to 16. Like not 16, so maybe like 11 to 15.
When Limited 2, because I feel like Limited 2 was like millennials and we just got the back half of it. Like because Limited 2 stopped making clothes around the time... We were in elementary.
But even like Aeropostale,
yes,
PacSun, it used to skew
American
younger.
Eagle,
Yes, it used to skew younger.
I guess, what do they have now? I feel like garage clothing.
Garage to me.
Garage Urban Outfitters, I guess.
But that's
still adult.
To 18.
I know that's still
not
adult.
11 to 15.
Like I would shop at Urban.
We shop at Urban.
Right.
I was at Urban.
But I'm trying to think of what tweens can shop at right now.
Caitlin.
Yeah, let's ask your teenage sister.
Caitlin is 16.
Okay.
She's about to be 17.
Okay.
Now, I wasn't doing this when I was her age, but Caitlin shops at Aritzia.
She got money.
Right.
Let me tell you, I had my little minimum wage retail job.
Yes.
It was rubbing some coins together
sales
and some
section
Christmas
of
money.
PacSun.
Okay, and I used to work
in the sales
at
section of PacSun. I was in the
Pacific Sunwear.
I was in the tween section at Nordstrom and Macy's. But no, Caitlin shops at Aritzia and Urban Outfitters. No, but I feel like Aritzia, Caitlin's older now, so I would expect a 16, 17-year-old to shop at Aritzia.
That cocktail good.
The cocktail was good?
The cocktail was good.
Y'all know I ate. Just a little side note for today's martini. We
Wait, we gotta save it for the Martini Club. We can't tell them what the ingredients are yet.
Okay, yeah, it's a little pineapple drink I threw together.
Oh my God.
But there are not clothes or like sections in stores that are for kids that are the younger teenagers. So like 11 to 15. Middle school. Because I don't think you should be 12 shopping at a Aritzia unless you're getting basics.
It's
expensive. It's expensive.
Yeah, it's not affordable.
That shit is not cheap. But
yeah, we got on a little
tangent.
But what I was wearing during that time, I was definitely wearing the little flannels around the waist.
Oh, yeah.
I still wear bralettes. I can't hold you. I'm still a little bit, well, I either don't wear a bra.
Yeah, no, I'm team no bra.
Or it's like I wear bras that just have no underwire, probably no padding.
Yeah.
If you see me in a bra, it's because I'm going to like a professional or work.
I still don't even. I
know, even sometimes when I go to my day job, I don't wear a bra.
I wear a little bralette, so it's just like in one place.
Yeah.
I don't even think I own a bra.
I do own a couple of bras. I just don't wear them.
I think I own one that is so ratty and tatted up. I don't wear it, so I don't really like own a bra.
Gotcha.
Bras are not comfortable.
They're not.
To me.
They're not comfortable at all.
I don't like them. And yeah, free to zip. But let's get into Brandy Melville. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with the store. One size fits all. Brandy motherfucking Melville.
Wait, before we get into it, can you tell me what was your first introduction to Brandy Melville?
So if you don't know, I moved to Mississippi at the tender age of 12 years old.
Southern gal.
The tender age of 12 years old. We did not have a Brandy Melville store there.
Okay, storefront.
I think our PacSun may have carried it a little bit, but it's not the same as like going to the storefront.
Yeah.
So I was introduced to Brandy Melville through YouTube, where the girls were like doing the hauls and I was seeing the clothes and I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
I personally was turned off a little bit, even being like 13, 14, 15, was turned off by the fact that it was one size fits all. Because while I was smaller in middle school and going into high school, I could have worn a size 0 or a 2, but my shoulders were so broad because I was swimming that I couldn't fit into that. So I was wearing like a 4'6". Yeah, I was wearing like a 4'6". I don't wear that no more, but I was wearing like a 4'6" to then.
Right.
So it's like, even if I went to Brandy Melville, I couldn't really fit nothing anyway because my shoulders were big. But then I definitely remember the Brandy era on YouTube, the Brandy era on Instagram, and the Brandy era on Tumblr, where everybody was trying to recreate the little photos and the this and this and that.
Yeah.
But I think when it came down to it, I owned maybe like 2 or 3 Brandy pieces, and they were like the large t-shirts, couldn't fit into none of the pants. Maybe I had a jacket, but those were the type of clothes that my mama was like, you got to go in there and buy that yourself. I'm not paying for that. So that's where we were at with Brandy Melville. And it just like wasn't cheap either. So we were paying like $40, $50 for some cut up graphic tees.
I think I remember paying maybe $30 for those baby tees.
Yeah, for the baby, the little baby
I
doll
could be wrong though.
shirts.
I just remember for my minimum wage ass.
That shit was expensive.
Budget and paycheck that I was getting, it was going a lot towards well, I wasn't buying a lot of Brandy Melville items, but it was going a lot towards clothes, which at the time I could not afford. Period.
Right.
My first, like, I guess introduction to Brandy Melville was when I used to work at PacSun, which is so funny looking back like that. I was really like a PacSun girl, but I bet
you finna be the PacSun doc with me.
I'm weak.
PacSun, y'all could get her. She knew the ins and outs.
Listen, I ain't had no issue at PacSun. Not at my location. That's what I will say. I don't know if there's been stories about PacSun.
I don't know if it's issues with PacSun. Yeah. Allegedly.
Freaking weak. No, I love PacSun. Like, today I would still go into that store, see what they got going on. But I used to work, really throughout PacSun, because I started maybe working there when I was like 15, 16. And I worked there all the way up until I was like a freshman in college, because during like winter break I would come back and just work that winter break like holiday weekend just to get some extra coin. No, but I loved being a little PacSun girl. I loved like all of the alternative clothes that were in there. I loved the little like skater boy aspect of it. I used to work on the men's side.
Boy, I'm crying.
And I used to help do the set design for men.
I'm crying. So you was doing the merchandising?
Yes.
I'm weak.
Yes, do the little set design of like the table, the wall, help like, and I used to actually have to help like teenage boys as a teenage girl with like putting outfits together. Like, listen, they had a lot of faith in me. I can't hold you. They had my ass on the floor. I know.
Weak.
We'll talk about how Black women and their experience and BIPOC employees at Brandy were treated. But I will say at PacSun, they had my ass on the floor talking to folks.
Crying.
They had me in the cash register. They had me in the back. They had me rotating clockwork. They had me having me do it all. But when it comes to Brandy Melville, I remember how popular it was.
Oh,
and
it hit the streets.
Yes,
hit the streets, and it just like, I personally think it came out of nowhere. I felt like I just woke up one day and it was like there. Brandy. It was just there. And everybody was fully trying to replicate the photos they were posting on Instagram. Everybody wanted to be a Brandy girl, especially if you lived in California or probably like somewhere on the East Coast where you were just like outside as a teenager. But I didn't have access to all that.
I was never that big of a Brandy girl. So like the baby tees, I wasn't really into. Like I would really, if I got anything Brandy, it would be for basics.
Yeah.
And that's about it. But what I do remember and what was such a big deal at the time was I actually bought some Brandy jeans and was able to fit in them. And during that time, that was like a really...
You were skinny.
I was skinny.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that was like an indicator that you were skinny because them pants was not fitting everybody.
But I remember I probably was able to fit in them for maybe a year. And I like immediately could no longer fit in them. Now looking back, I don't know how I did fit in them because I was skinny. Like I was an athlete. So like my body was always in shape, but I was also muscular. Like I don't know how my butt and thighs fit into that. But I remember that being a big deal. And like my fellow like coworkers being like, you know, that's crazy that you could fit in them jeans. You know, it's only a one size fits all. Mind you, I never even really paid attention to the size, but in the back of my mind, I do remember it being a one size fits all. But as a teenager, I didn't really know what that meant as someone who had always traditionally just grown up pretty skinny.
Yeah.
I never had to think outside of that box. And so I can see how a lot of young girls who are skinny don't think outside of themselves, and now it's full of grown adults with full grown adult curves.
I got to look at that tag.
Woo, baby! I am not the girl I once was.
I got to look at that tag because I used to happily walk around in a 02.
Yeah, there was a time where we had nothing on them bones.
Nothing.
But now we got something on them bones. We got something on the bones. But with that being said, that was my introduction to Brandy. And I just remember, the white girls in my school just loving up some Brandy.
But a couple weeks ago on Max, formerly known as HBO, dropped a documentary called Brandy Melville and the Cult of Fast Fashion, where they went into the Brandy Melville era, how that influenced fast fashion, the amount of waste that Brandy Melville produced, and then everything that went into Brandy Melville as far as the optics of the workers, the optics of their social media channels, the people that were involved, and how they just had these little girls running this extremely successful brand that was geared towards skinny white women. And how basically the model is still working today despite having all these umbrella issues
and
controversy around it, which is honestly very interesting. But what I will say is that it's not surprising, seeing as the same thing has happened a little bit with Lululemon, Abercrombie, and they making more money than ever as of right now. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Brandy Melville, as you all know, started off as a one size fits all. They received a little bit of pushback, and then they changed it to one size fits most. The
Whatever
average size of an American woman, I don't know about the American girl, but an American woman is like a 12. So one size does not fit most.
Right.
Unless it's a 12. Unless it's like 10
and let me tell you, they are not selling no 12s.
Yeah, they're not selling no 12s in Brandy Melville. It was a major brand, and I thought the interesting thing about it is all of the men involved in creating this brand, Steven and Jesse, they spoke very little English. All of them were from Italy.
Yeah.
But were marketing towards young American girls. And I think that was the most fascinating part about all this, because I was just like, for them to be able to tap so deeply into little girl culture, little girl minds and little girl cultures as these men, which later turned out to be predatory, but I thought that was extremely fascinating. On bad days,
they're predators, so that makes sense.
Well, yes, but on bad days, these stores were making $10,000 to $20,000 a day. Yeah. For anybody that has not worked in retail, because I worked at Banana Republic for all of 15 days and then I quit. That's a different story for a different day.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, at the Short Hills Mall in New Jersey.
Not you giving the exact location.
Girl, I don't live there no more, nor do I work there. Y'all go up in there. I don't care. Terrible. Anyway,
I'm weak.
For those that have not worked in retail, $25K a day is hefty.
It is for a store.
For a store. Especially a store that's one size fits all.
Yeah, at that.
So that means that they were
of a target audience.
So that means that they were running through clothing on a regular. So they were mass producing. They would do major boxes of PR to a lot of YouTubers, a lot of influencers. One of the main people that they were sending a lot of boxes to was Kaya Gerber, who was Cindy Crawford's daughter. Yeah. If you don't know Kaya Gerber.
And Kylie and Kendall.
And Kylie and Kendall, but then other influencers like Emma Chamberlain and a few others that came up during that time. Yeah. They also held a big trip where they took major influencers to China to go see the Brandy facilities and factories and gave them opportunities to become Brandy girls.
But let's pause there just for a second, because really the work that they had those girls doing was something that like you would be doing if you were in a corporate setting.
Free labor.
And like, as someone who has a degree, who's had years within the fashion industry, these were influencer teenage girls. Yes. And yes, they were put up in, nice hotels and fed nice things. But if you were a worker of that company, you would be getting that same thing plus pay. Like, so I just thought that was very much like, damn, where did child labor laws like come through with that one? But hey.
Well, I guess I don't know if that comes into play because they were being gifted an experience where they were like staying at this 5-star hotel. And right. I'm not making it right, but I just feel like that's the argument that people are going to use when it comes to all of this. But they had them
picking out like the next season's clothes. Yes. And that's like, that's the job of a Miranda Priestley. That's the job of someone who's been in fashion for years. Listen, getting paid a good penny to do shit like that. The people
running that company didn't know no better, and it showed. Yeah. Also, if you were to walk into the store and you had the image of a Brandy girl who was maybe a redhead or a blonde, you kind of had you probably did have a thigh gap. Yeah. You were skinny and of lighter, just about whiter skin. They would even hire you on the spot to be a Brandy girl. Yeah. And you would work in the store. Now, if you were of color, so Latino, Black, Asian, unless you had distinct features, a majority of those girls would be working in the back and in the stock room. Yeah. To the point where
not to be seen.
To the point where the people in these interviews were talking about how there were no Black people or no people of color that worked in the store that were put on the floor to greet the people and the customers coming in.
Right.
Okay. Now, this all runs into fast fashion and the amount of waste that is produced every single year from stores like Brandy Melville, Fashion Nova, Pretty Little Thing, even Zara. High amounts of waste and high amounts of overconsumption. The US and Europe and Canada consume 36 billion units of clothing a year.
That's a lot of clothing.
And over 50% of it gets discarded every year.
Where does it go?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Ghana is a dumping ground for unwanted fast fashion. The US, Europe, Canada, and the UK have deals with countries in Africa to basically take this clothing and they dump it in Accra. It's in this place called the Kantamanto Market in Ghana and is the largest secondhand economy in the world. And this market sees on average 15 million garments a week.
That's insane.
Ghana only has a population of 32 million people. So to be able to move with the amount of things that are coming in, for it to not overpopulate and for it to not overcrowd the city, each person would have to buy on average one outfit a week. One outfit a week to keep up with the amount of clothing, and just things that are being dumped in their country. The term Obruniwawu, or dead white man's clothes, has been adopted in these countries because the people there could not understand why there was so much waste and why so much clothing was coming into their countries. So they just assumed that, of course, these must be clothings of dead people and not people wasting so much. These countries, Ghana leading the charge, have been trying to work out deals with the US and Europe, the UK, and Canada, basically saying, we don't want these clothes anymore. Stop dumping them here. And they are imposing restrictions on them, trying to take away their duty-free status, trying to put sanctions on them, just different things of basically like, okay, bet if you don't take these clothes, there will be implications, and these are implications that it would be major to a country. So they've just been locked into this predatory cycle.
Sounds like modern day colonization to me.
It absolutely is. And then there's no landfill, so the clothes are either burnt or sent into the sea, both of which are horrible. The burning of it releases so much carbon dioxide into the air. Climate change. And then there is so much clothing in the waters surrounding these countries that there's microfibers there's microfibers in their fish and in the food that they eat, just because of how that cycle goes. And it's now into their water. So now everybody will suffer over the course of probably the next couple years, very soon. Because the entire seafloor is full of these clothes now, and it's just compounded and compounded and compounded on top of each other, because obviously that shit does not decompose.
Right.
So let's talk about that there.
Okay.
Because there's more.
I think what we're seeing is this circle of life when it comes to colonization. So
modern day slavery.
Right. That, and what I mean by the circle of life is we start off with seeing African people being captured, kidnapped, enslaved, brought to this country to do what? To do labor in this country. And at one point, one of those key resources that America basically helped produce was cotton. And, we see all of this cotton that has been picked by our ancestors and people from Africa or descendants of Africans, just for all these clothes to end back up
there.
Over there where our ancestors were literally stripped from. And that's why I'm calling it the circle of life when it comes to...
The circle of colonization.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, yeah.
The circle of colonization. The COC.
The COC.
We over here.
We coining new terms. Coining new terms. But honestly, even the visuals of watching these trucks, these 18-wheelers come in with... These clothes are compacted so tight that when you cut the strings around it, it makes a pop and everything just flies out. And now it is on the responsibility of countries that did not produce this waste to somehow figure out how to get rid of it.
And that's just, clothes is just one minimal thing. Think about where your electronics go.
Exactly. Free Congo.
Right. There's so many things. It also goes back to overconsumption of what our society has. And it's so funny because I was telling Chandler, I was like, this is a thrifted dress that I bought not too long ago that I'm currently wearing. I'm trying to be more environmentally conscious, but also more overconsumption conscious of trying to not spend money on new articles of clothing. It's challenging. But, I think this documentary, it touched upon, aside from just Brandy and Brandy's toxic work culture, It also touched upon a very big issue that I feel like a lot of Americans and a lot of people in countries that consider themselves to be superior are ignoring or not know, or just completely blatantly ignorant to.
It's even very visible when you get on TikTok and people are doing Amazon finds, and
That's
their whole
true.
TikTok videos are dedicated to Amazon finds. Or my biggest pet peeve, fridge restocks.
Why are those your biggest pet peeves?
Okay, let me not say fridge restocks, but there is something extremely irking about watching y'all take something out of a plastic container to put it into another plastic container for the sake of aesthetics because you want to make money on TikTok. That is so deeply wasteful. The amount of things y'all buy and then just like discard of because you're trying to keep up this persona, or just because you want your house to look a certain way, which I get it. Right. Where like water talk, where they're making water, but you're pouring water from plastic bottles into a reusable container when you could just buy a Brita and just pour the water from the Brita into the reusable container. Okay. So it's just kind of like you're creating unnecessary waste.
Got you.
That's the point I'm making.
Because I'm just like, the stuff I use in my fridge, I don't throw out.
No, I know, but but I'm saying like there's just a mass amount of people that buy things to put it in prettier containers to make it look prettier, and then you're just disposing of so much other stuff. And I know I probably can guarantee a lot of y'all don't recycle. Right. So I would even encourage y'all.
We also know that recycling isn't real.
That too. So it's like I'm at the point now where I would even encourage y'all to shop at zero waste stores. Like if you have all these containers, you need to go to stores. I know it's not accessible to everybody, but please look up in your area and see if there is one. If you have so many containers, go to the stores and take your fruit and put it. Yeah, like you can do that. Like,
I've done that before.
We just need to be more sustainable, because watching this really put into perspective for me how much we buy and how much we get rid of. And I have now, thank God, moved into a place where I don't buy clothes for every time I go on a new trip, which is something I used to do, which I'm so glad I've moved away from. Also, I try not to shop. I try to shop as little fast fashion as possible. I'm trying to get to a point where I have only pieces. Everything is thrifted, or it is something that I have saved up for, spent a lot of money on, and I can wear until it is falling off the bone. Mm-hmm. And I think that my closet is at a place where...
well-made pieces, not fast fashion.
Exactly. I think my closet is at a place where I don't feel the need to just be buying and buying and buying and buying. And with stores like Brandy, Melville, Shein, Fashion World Perpetuate is you buy something, you spent $30, $40 on it, you only get 3-4 wears out of it. That's $10 a wear. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. When you buy something, you need to be able to wear that almost hundreds of times
over.
I have jeans that were thrifted from Goodwill that were probably from the 80s and 90s. Still, I wear them jeans once a week.
I'm weak.
Quite literally once a week.
That's your staple pair.
And they're still together. You know the one, the little high waist ones?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Still together. But now you buy jeans today, 2 months in, they got holes in them.
Yeah.
Can't stand in the dryer.
Or not even real denim.
Not even real denim. Ridiculous. How do you feel about one size fits all?
At the time, I didn't realize how powerful and how unfair and how, I'll just say it, disgusting that is. Mm-hmm. Like, at the time, because of the fact of that size had fit me, I didn't think how women of different sizes would not be able to partake in the same like clothes. And even today, like you would think during that time, like the rise really of like plus size fashion and the importance of inclusivity and body positivity.
Well, that wasn't until recent.
I feel like, well, no, because I'm thinking of stores like Torrid, and there were stores that popped up during the same time that Brandy was popular.
But I felt like they didn't really get popular until like we went to college.
I knew of Torrid in high school. I don't know.
They were there, but I'm saying like I don't think they hit mainstream until people were like really talking about it until we got older.
Okay, my point is that there's there's a lack of body inclusive sizes in your general everyday store, which is why I think there are places like a Torrid or just like plus size dedicated stores that it's amazing we see it now. But I will say back then I did not think outside of my little teenage brain to understand what that is, but now looking back at it, that's extremely problematic. And then too, also I mentioned earlier, like I grew out of those jeans within a year. Like clothes really, to me, like I feel like it is your due diligence as a brand to provide clothes for all body types. And that's just how I feel. If you want to be a brand, especially in this at this time in our society, there's no way around like sitting there and be like, oh, I don't want to cater to people like that. What?
And being bold about it too.
Right. Like to me, it's just like, no, this is the society we live in. There are people who need to wear clothes.
And want to wear cute clothes too.
Right.
And we going to get to the Leo Skeppy of it all. We're going to get to that.
And well-made clothes.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it now, and that's how I feel about it then. That's why I was given the two different perspectives. Well, because I feel like that needs to
that's fair.
Looking back, like I did not fucking think of that, and I think that's important to call out because I'm sure a lot of teenage girls who showed their Brandy did not think of that shit.
I agree. As somebody that probably dealt with a little maybe weight or body issues in the past, I think it's extremely disheartening to see. When you're 12, 13, 14, you can't really comprehend that. But now looking back, I was like, that was crazy that was pushed on us as little girls.
Exactly.
Just fiending to want to feel included and be a part of this group. So therefore adopting unhealthy eating habits. A lot of people with eating disorders.
Throughout the documentary.
Things being disguised as dieting when it was really an ED. Just because you want to feel a part, which is people want to feel a part of a group. People be like, oh my gosh, why can't I wear the cute clothes that everybody else wants to wear? All my friends have them. Why can't I have them? And that is a very, very real thing.
Yeah.
And as somebody that probably slightly still has a little bit of body dysmorphia now, it's insane.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
I just think I
agree with that because I feel like now, and I remember I was telling Chandler earlier, I want to say around 2021 winters when my body really started changing in a way that I didn't know my body could look. At that point I had graduated. We were going through that
the same time.
Yeah. We had just graduated from college back in May.
The girls
and by the end of that winter, my clothes were not fitting me the same. And it was my body was developing in ways that
puberty came through.
That second round
is hitting me right now.
Kicked in. And so even now, with looking at myself, because growing up, body image was never a concern to me. It was never something I was even focused on. I knew I was being sexualized, but even then, I didn't really think, it wasn't at the frontal portion of my mind. Whereas now, I'm constantly looking at my body, constantly I don't even want to say feeling ashamed of my body, because I don't feel ashamed of my body. It's just I'm taking in how it's looking now and how much it's changed and how my body is able to change in ways I didn't know it could change before. And it's just more of something that, it's not that I'm ashamed of it, it's just more of I'm trying to understand it and understand that one, keeping the front mind that even though I feel beautiful and am comfortable in my own skin, there will be people and environments around me who will try to not make me feel beautiful or comfortable in my own skin. And I have to make sure that I constantly push back on that so that there's not times and moments where I'm I need to, start dieting or overly working out. To my knowledge, I've never had to deal with any form of an eating disorder. I've never had feelings surrounding that, or I never did too much exercise. It was kind of just, I've always been an active kid, and thankfully body image has never been at my frontal lobe.
I think I've probably dealt with undertones of an eating disorder. I don't know if I would call it true disordered eating, just because there were other things that were involved in that entire thing. But I've definitely been at points where Because I would say my body really started changing during COVID because, like, the girls were sitting at home. I think I dealt with my first round
that's when a lot of people's bodies change.
I dealt with my first round of body issues when I was in, like, high school because I was just so muscular because I was swimming.
That makes sense.
And my shoulders were so broad, so I felt like my body almost, like, my shoulders almost didn't match up with the rest of my body. So I was just kind of like, I feel very uncomfortable right now. Right. And that was like a blow to my, I will call it a blow to my self-esteem. And at that time, I did not feel pretty because I was just like, why am I built like this? Like, I don't want to swim anymore. Like, I hate, like, I'm just so muscular. I hate it. And it was something that kids were mean to me about in high school because they used to be like, you look like a man. You da-da-da-da. Just like,
and being a dark-skinned black woman, that doesn't help because they're always trying to, what's the word? Masculinize.
Yes.
Masculinize you.
Or is defeminize a word? I don't know, but y'all,
we be making up words. Y'all understand what we talking about,
but y'all know what we talking about. Yeah. And then got to Howard, and then that was when we really started weight training, and that was when I was just kind of like, I started getting a little ass. So I was like, okay, period. I was like, my hips getting a little wide. But I was like, my fucking shoulders. Then I quit swim, and I quit swim at the end of my sophomore year, and I went into my junior year. I was like still a little muscular because I was just kind of like whatever, and then boom, COVID hit and I lost that muscle weight. And I will never forget, I went back to school that summer. We were living in DC, and I pulled up to my friend's house, and he was like, you look healthy. I said, oh wow, that's
crazy to say.
I said, oh my God. I said, I look healthy. He was like, no, I didn't mean it like that. And I didn't take it offensively, but that was when I was like, oh, bitch, I'm getting thick.
Yeah.
And it stayed. It stayed. And here I am.
Period.
Later. Thick of the hips.
Right. Okay.
But
what other topics should we talk about when it comes to the Brandy Hellville? I kind of want to talk about what it's like being like Black women in any working industry, really.
Yeah, let's get into that. I think when it comes to, because I'm trying to keep Brandy Melville tied in.
Yeah.
There is a sense of, I need to watch my words.
Okay.
There is, when working, unless there are a select few places that are not included in this, but a lot of times when you are a Black woman in the workplace, there is a lot of othering that happens.
Yeah.
And I think the Brandy Melville documentary was a prime and real life example that if you are not Black and have never experienced this, it is a great visual to see how othering
that plays out,
happens in the workplace. And even just something as retail is not small, but like even when retail going up to corporate, that happens in the corporate rooms where you get othered, where like you are looked over for certain things, where optics play a major role. And honestly, no, let's bring in content creation into this now. There are a lot of jobs that I was 100% qualified for, have interviewed for, but I can tell you confidently that I did not get them because they would have been camera-facing roles because of the optics of it all. And then you see the people that got the jobs after you that are now running these social media pages that have their faces all over these pages. And it's like, I fully could have done the job 10,000 times better, but maybe y'all didn't like my hair. Or maybe y'all didn't like what I was wearing.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just was a little too dark.
A little
especially
bit. Too much blackness.
No, too much blackness. Because especially having worked in the beauty field before, I have been on the other end of having to pick models for shoots. They send over 30 girls. 2 of them are Black. One's light skin, one's brown skin. And I'm expected to work with that. But dare I ask for some other options? So it's an optics thing. 100% of it is optics.
Yeah.
Optics and othering, O&O. And I think that those are 2 major things that people need to keep in mind when it comes to Black women in the workplace. Yeah. And think about, if you're non-Black and even light-skinned, think about how you may perpetuate those stereotypes as well.
Yeah. I think Black women, literally in any industry, we all go through our different situations. But something that, like, I think what's great about the Brandy Melville documentary is it's exposing the fact of how completely ignorant and even could be complicit that white coworkers are, and not understanding and realizing that they could be playing into a narrative that's being drawn up of a black coworker of theirs. And I've seen it time and time again. It's been an experience of myself throughout different work settings. And so I think it's just something important to keep in mind that, you know, as much as you have DE&I culture and human resources, that there's oftentimes your company might be making every effort they can to minimize any race-related issues, but you still have a few bad apples who will show up in ways, whether it's through complete blatant racism or microaggressions that are very harmful.
Wait, pause on the microaggressions. Get into that.
There's microaggressions that show up in everyday life. That's not even just in the workplace, right? Microaggressions show up everywhere. You know, when a black woman speaks so eloquently, or you just sound so professional, or that's a microaggression, right?
Or you're just so good at what you do.
Why wouldn't I be? So, you know, right. And unfortunately, that's something that society just needs to work on. But I just want to say I'm very glad that the documentary did showcase, like, the blatant racism that was in there. And it clearly, you see it with the girls who were being put in the back, but you also see it when it was basically exposed how senior leadership had their own Brandy Melville gags, which was a group chat, and basically they would be sending anti-Semitic, racist,
lewd and crude.
Yes. Like
memes
disgusting
jokes,
sexualized content, and we'll just say inappropriate things, period. Like the lack of HR.
HR was nowhere to be found.
Not a part of the business model.
Not in the room with us at all.
Not in the room with us.
HR was not in the room.
And so,
but even though, what I will say, even though HR most likely was not built into the business model and was not and is still not in the room with us.
And after you finish your point, I want to talk about how dangerous it is that HR is not built into many companies.
But what I will say, even the companies where HR is there,
it's still a problem.
It's still a problem because I've been in situations before where HR has been called.
Yeah.
But
they're representatives of the company.
Exactly. So they're not there for you. I just think at the end of the day, Black women will always, for the foreseeable future, unfortunately, get the shit end of the stick and the short end of the stick, which is why I am so passionate about working with other Black women and women of color, which is something I honestly, moving forward, is now about to be a non-negotiable for me, because I've just seen how we all operate in a way where it's like, we may not agree, things may happen, whatever, but at the baseline, there is a respect.
Yeah.
And when you come, and I have been too many other situations where people see you as a number and as a body and not as a person that you should be having respect for.
Who you're keeping there because they bring in money.
You're a quota.
They bring in numbers.
Exactly.
Like, there's so many times where I wonder, because of the fact that, like, I am a light-skinned woman, and there are aspects about me that are more, what's the word? More likable, or considered more beautiful if I'm a diversity hire, because of the fact
more palatable.
Right, more palatable. Thank you. If I'm a diversity hire, if I'm a diversity hire because of the fact that, well, she not too Black.
I think, we can have that conversation. I think, Tiffany, we need to get real with the fact that could very well be the reality.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like, okay, y'all, she Black. She not Black, but she Black. It's fine. She Black. It's cool. They go fuck with her. She be like,
I'm sure I've gotten hired plenty of times for that. And that's not to sit here and negate my hard work that I put into any job. That's not here to sit here and negate my talent, because I know I'm talented. I know I bring a lot to the table. And I know that I be doing my motherfucking shit, period, okay? And that shows throughout my work. But it makes me wonder, if I were a couple shades darker and my hair was in a tighter coil, if the same opportunities would be presented to me.
A lot of people were talking about that on Twitter a couple days ago, and I wish I could remember the person that tweeted this, but she worked in fashion, and she was like, I'm really good at what I do, and she was like, not to toot my own horn, and I'm completely paraphrasing right now, but she was like, not to toot my own horn, but she was like, I can't help but imagine how much further I would be if, one, I weren't fat, and two, I were lighter skin. And I was like, that is, especially when you work in industries that we do.
Yeah.
We work in fashion, beauty, and entertainment.
Yeah.
That is very, very real, because when you take a look at everybody that is really on display, how many of them are brown?
Okay. Camera facing, especially.
Camera facing. Not the producer, not the script writer. I'm talking about the people in front of the screen, the people that are asked to be the spokesperson. How many of them are brown? And if they are brown, what does their hair texture look like?
Yeah. So that's all very valid.
Do they rock a silk press on a regular occasion? And it's no shade to the girls that do, but I just think that now, like, the featureism of it all is a very big thing as well.
Yeah.
And because
featureism, yeah.
I fully think, I mean, we've talked about this before. The job I applied to a little while ago, and I told you, and I got to the last round, and I told you the reason I really felt I did not get picked was because of optics. Yeah. And I pulled up to that call with at the time my hair was very short and natural, and it was curly, and I was just kind of like, I think.
And that hurts for me to know that you have to think of that. And that's why you think you might have not gotten the job. I'll never forget when I was in college, I was interviewing with and they basically were like asking you what trending topics were of the time. So I talked about like a Nipsey Hussle's death, and then I talked about some other like, basically it was like black news, but it was still political news. And it was news that they would have reported on. But I remember after the interview, now mind you, I knew I fucking killed it. I remember afterwards, my mom had listened in on the interview, and she goes, I think you did amazing. She goes, but I think because of the fact that you pitched 2 black news stories, they may not pick you. The fact that you have to think of that as a black person,
it is.
I'm sorry, like that gets me really upset.
It's also deeply irritating because I am somebody that prides myself on being a storyteller, and the one thing I'm always going to do is put black stories at the front. Yeah. It is something I have vowed to do no matter where I'm at. I could be working for a gas station and they could be like, put together a social media plan to sell more unleaded premium gas. What do I need to do to get a black person in front of the camera? Like, that is just something that I do. I'm very passionate about, because if I'm not in there advocating for us,
who the fuck will be?
Y'all not about to.
I understand, and
like, no,
ahead,
that's what I'm saying. But I'm just like, it's just ridiculous about the fact of why are our stories not worthy to be told unless it's about like somebody being shot dead in the street by the police, or just something really tragic, or just like traumatic.
I don't think our audience would be interested in that.
I don't think it's gonna sell. Prime example. Insecure did so well, and it wasn't about anybody being black or going through trauma.
Literally,
they just happened to be black.
The ordinary girl.
They just happened to be black. I think that is one of HBO's best shows outside of Game of Thrones, but that's different. Outside of Game of Thrones and maybe like Westworld, but like that is a top 5 HBO show to me. Yeah, and that is a hill I will die on. Yeah. And it's just about some people that just happen to be black that's going through regular life, living regular life. And that show did extreme numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But black doesn't sell. Black Panther! They were sure that is the #1 superhero movie.
Marvel, yeah.
Marvel. But y'all told me black people can't sell.
Just going back to what Chandler said when she was discussing, like, any workspace she goes to, she always keeps black stories in the front of her mind. That is the same for me. Anywhere I know that I show up, more than likely, every job, honestly, that I've done since I've been out of college, I've been, if not one of the first black people working at that company, but at least one of the first black people who have some form of power and have some form of say, and have some form of being like the camera facing person, right? And something that I do like, and this is how I've always been since a little girl, I was that child in my history classes correcting my teachers. And I do that because I know anywhere I show up, I want to use my blackness, and I don't even want to say as a weapon, but I want to use it as a resource, I would say, to make sure that I don't go unheard, that the people after me don't go unheard, and that the people after me will have an easier opportunity, and their fights will be already have won or at least minimized so that they will be able to achieve what they want to achieve. I might not be able to achieve what it is that I want to achieve, but just know for sure I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that it's easier for the next person, period. Because as a black person in any industry, in any workplace, you always have to think about those who come after you. And that's something that I feel like I really, especially after my first job out of college, I was like, you know, if y'all gonna paint me to be this person, or, you know, make me seem as such, or that I'm incompetent, or that I'm not worthy of whatever job, or I don't know what I'm doing, just know I'm gonna always go down as hard as I can to make sure that the next person doesn't have to deal with this bullshit.
One thing about it, and anybody that has worked with me can attest to this, especially at some of these select companies, y'all gonna feel me after when I'm done. When I get up to them last days, y'all gonna feel me.
It's just about saying what's right and making sure.
But that is uncomfortable to them. For them. Exactly. For them. Not for me.
Because I don't want it to be an intention of, I'm making people feel miserable.
No.
I'm saying what needs to be said because there needs to be a change.
Exactly.
And that's because the thing is, they'll sit there and be like, well, she made this a miserable workplace. No. We're not doing that. It's that somebody came into the space and made you feel uncomfortable because they're trying to make sure that there is more diversity in the future. They're trying to make sure that there's more opportunity for someone who looks like them in the future. It's not that they're trying to make you uncomfortable. You feel uncomfortable, and you feel uncomfortable because there's something about what they did that made you realize that, one, you might not have the power to do that.
Clock it.
Two, that is different to you, and now you have to open your mind outside of your very selective ass self.
Clock it.
Okay? And that's really what that is.
Clock it.
So let's just, because it's words like, miserable, or, you know, she's just the angry black woman.
Clock that T.
No.
Clock that T.
No, we're
Clock
not
that
doing
T.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was a lot of passion I had to get on my chest. Continue though.
No. T equals clocked.
And clocked equals T.
Yeah, okay. I don't have nothing else to say. You said it. Check. Retweet. Repost TikTok. Fucking post
and share
TikTok.
on stories.
And share on stories. Okay. Yep. And send 2 friends and be like, damn, girl, she ate that.
Dead ass.
Okay. No, yeah, because I know we done left the Brandy Melville topic because honestly that just leads into this slippery slope that all this is.
Yeah.
But if you've ever dealt with a workplace issue, feel free to DM us.
We hear you.
Feel free to email us at femininechaospodcast@gmail.com. I want to create a space to talk about that because I've just dealt with too many of the same issues at the hands of different people in different industries and in different companies.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of feeling like we can't talk about it.
Well,
Or you being the bad person for wanting to bring up what is your truth.
There needs to be a space, and I've talked to Chandler about this. There needs to be a space where Black women could go to grieve and discuss.
And talk unfiltered, uncensored.
Yes, about their experiences in the workplace, currently, past, whatever the case may be, because there's just things that we experience that others simply do not experience or overlook, or don't even realize that they're perpetuating or putting out. Like, I know there's definitely been people who have come across me in the past who didn't realize things that they might have said that came off very hurtful.
Yeah, so we want to create that space for y'all.
Yeah.
I am fiending to talk about a lot of things. I've gone through a lot of, and I'm 24, if y'all don't know.
24 with no kids. Oh, yeah.
And Tiffany is 25. 25 with no kids.
Oh, yeah. I'm dead. Well, Luna is my child, but that's a different story.
No human children.
Right. Just furry babies.
Just furry babies. That's all we can. This teen pregnancy.
No, literally beating teen pregnancy
Teen pregnancy every day. But I do want to open up that space. We do want to open up that space just because I've been fully in the workplace now, not including internships, almost 4 years. Yeah. And the amount I've experienced in 4 years is honestly a lifetime of stories that I have. And it's honestly absolutely ridiculous. But that's okay. Fuck Brandy Melville. Let's move into our speed round.
Fuck with vibe, bitch.
Let's move into our speed round of hot one-liners and call-outs in pop culture. Hashtag boycott RHOP, otherwise known as the Real Housewives of Potomac,
Maryland.
Paflopmic. It's trending on Twitter right now due to claims of colorism from the fans. Now, I have to say claims legally, but I do agree with some of the alleged things that are being said. Yeah, the claims being made. And due to the colorism claims from fans and Bravo and wanting the Bravo production to step in. Now, by the time this episode comes out, the third.
Well, we know Bravo hasn't always been a place for Black women to feel
not at all
safe.
Lenithia Leaks.
Ebony K. Williams.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway, by the time this episode comes out, the third part of the reunion will have released. And I think that this season itself has been an extremely hard watch. Just watching colorism truly take center stage and then just having the guidelines be different per housewife. And just watching women be attacked. And I think
women being pit against each other.
Exactly.
Like I told Chandler, I said a massive turnoff for me seeing Wendy and Nneka like being basically put against each other as two Nigerian women when that should be
over that shine shit. It was ridiculous.
Which should really, and that's above us because I'm not someone who really understands the depths of Nigerian culture. But what I will say is I don't like how production has allowed for that to play out. And two, also, we know production likes to push narratives. I'm not saying that's a narrative production was trying to push, but I think Bravo needs to be very intentional when it comes to pitting Black women against one another.
I also think when you are dealing with claims as heavy and as loaded as colorism, we need to bring more professionals to the forefront.
Beyond Andy.
That's what I'm saying. Andy is not equipped. He is not equipped at all to lead that conversation.
And he knows it. And he said that. Like, so it's just like, if you know that and you've said that, then Bravo needs to do what they need to do to get people in the room.
It's been sad to see, sad to watch. And I personally will not be watching RHOP any further until some people are relieved of their positions on the cast and some changes are made. And honestly, even a statement is dropped at this point in time because it's getting ridiculous. Watching just like Candace in particular be abused on the show. and like it's abuse at this point.
She has been.
Yes, been getting abused. But anyway, O.J. Simpson went on up to glory Thursday, April 11th.
Why would you say glory? We don't know he went up there.
I'm screaming. They was on Twitter talking about some prayers down.
No, because I'm really not trying to laugh over nobody.
Did he do it? If the glove don't fit,
Chandler, put your fucking hand down.
You must acquit.
Put your fucking hand down.
If the glove don't fit, you must acquit.
Rob Kardashian and they did not eat that.
If the glove does not fit, you must acquit. Listen, I'm not saying I don't believe he did not.
That man killed that woman and her man.
Tiffany, I agree.
Okay.
Allegedly. Well, I mean, he was unfortunate. We are not allowed to be speaking on this topic. He was, not convicted guilty. So, but in my belief, in our personal belief,
yes, I believe he killed that woman and that man.
May they all rest. Some of them maybe not in peace. The Bridgerton season 3 trailer.
I'm excited.
Has dropped.
Coming to a Netflix near you in
May. To a Netflix, not a family account near you. Make sure y'all's emails are locked and loaded.
Yeah, they kicking folks out of Netflix.
I'm excited. Okay.
So am I.
Lady Whistledown herself. She finna find love, y'all.
Miss Penelope.
I
love Nicola Coughlan.
The trailer gave. Or the little teaser, the little whatever.
First of all, I always forget she's grown as fuck.
She's almost 40.
She's grown as fuck.
And she look good too.
She looks
fashion icon.
She's witty. She's fun. I really fuck with a Nicola Coughlan. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And she said Io Debris is her Irish sister, so period.
I love her.
Period.
So yeah, when that comes out, I'm turning my phone off. So please do not try to contact me for 48 hours post then, because you know what I'm doing. To be doing. Okay. Mm-hmm. The CMTs were earlier this week, and Tiara Kennedy, Raina Roberts, Tanner Adele, and Brittany Spencer were all on stage and revealed they got matching Blackbird tattoos in honor of them being on Cowboy Carter.
Listen.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly.
Learn to see the light, Listen, learning more and more. I'm sorry, we're not gonna bring this back to Cowboy Carter, but just learning.
Yvette, we shut up real good. Parkwood, if you're listening right
Be
now.
Good if you're listening.
Be good if you're listening right now. Just know we sign NDAs. And I'll let y'all email us further, femininechaospodcast@gmail.com. Thank you.
Period. I understanding the history of that particular track, right? I feel like I've learned so much from TikTok.
Part 2 review.
But understanding that song originally was a Beatles song, and that song was written specifically after the Little Rock 9 incident, and understanding that song is specifically to protect Black women. Can't hold you, Paul McCartney. You might have did your fattest one.
He's been doing his fat one, though.
Your biggest, but
we fuck with them.
You know when there's really people who are on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground for Paul McCartney and the Beatles. But I just think that it's beautiful that because Beyonce was able to bring them all together and was able to create a connection and a lifelong bond now that they have those tattoos together. You don't even have to like tattoos. That story is nice.
Inject Blackbird in my veins.
Yeah, I love it.
Speaking of country, Tanner Adele, our sister,
Whiskey Blues,
has dropped a new song.
Drop my heart down the kitchen.
Blues.
Sing.
Whiskey Blues. Y'all, the song is
a bop. I wish it was a little longer, but...
Oh, just put it on repeat. There it is. Repetition, babes.
Okay, put it on listen repetition. To that after this.
Put it on repetition. Oh, trust. I was going to do that when we start to... Because after this, we're going to catch a little drink. When we start setting this stuff up, I'm going to put that on the radio.
Period.
And also, Shaboozey dropped a new song called A Bar Song, also known as Tipsy, and has made its debut.
I haven't heard it yet. I need to clock it.
Here comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. No, that's in the song. Don't laugh.
I know.
This is the song. Don't laugh. And just if y'all don't know, there have been questions about the name of his fan base. We are called the Boot Cuts.
Period.
He's calling us the Boot Cuts because I am a boot cut. He goes by Shaboozey Jeans, and we are the Boot Cuts.
Okay.
We are the boot
we
cuts.
got the Buckle Bunnies
and
for the Tanner Adells, and we have the Boot Cuts.
And the Boot Cuts. Raina Roberts, Brittany Spencer, Tiara Kennedy. What's the name of y'all stand base?
Right, so we can get on
So we can get on that. Please email us the name of that at femininechaospodcast@gmail.com. Thank you. And also, if y'all want to know, we sign NDAs. We shut up real good too. Okay? Thank you. And that is the end of our speed roundup. But if you took nothing from this, please go stream Whiskey Blues and A Bar Song. Thank you.
Period.
And let's get into our viral clip of the week.
So then the boat hit the Baltimore Bridge. Mm-hmm. And then the Baltimore Bridge collapsed, okay? And then the mayor came out and talked about it. Mm-hmm.
You know, black people.
That is.
So my black stereotype that I know is 1,000% correct is that all black people save plastic bags from the grocery store and reuse them around the house as shower caps. They reuse it as little trash bags for recyclables. It's a universal thing in the black household, and you always have a little, somewhere just laying around a little grocery bag for your garbage or whatever the case may be.
I have a confession.
And they're stored in a specific place in your house. I know where mine are stored.
I have
What's your confession?
I don't have any plastic bags in this house.
Tell her black card, y'all. This a white woman. No. This non-black woman cosplaying. Let me stop.
She really said, "Snow bunnies forever, black queens never."
Snow bunnies forever, black queens never.
I cannot believe that.
We must stay focused, brothers.
We must stay focused. Politics over punani. Consciousness over coochie.
First of all, this is not a Dr. Umar stand account.
It's not.
I can't hold
But a
you.
broken clock is right twice a day.
Okay.
Sometimes. Anyway, I think a very interesting black stereotype, something very funny is they can never put the time in. I'm sorry, we. Sorry.
She being racist, y'all. Go ahead.
Can never put the time in on the microwave. It's 30.
Yeah, it's not 5 minutes. It's
30. And the
Ooh,
universal.
like clockwork.
Okay, what's the universal oven setting? What you set your oven to when you turn it on? If it don't say what it got to be on, what do you just? What's the degree?
Oh, a degree?
What's the degree?
350 or 375?
Yep, 375. Universal black, 375.
Universal black.
Universal black.
Okay.
All right, well.
Black people.
You know. Black people. But in this TikTok news segment, we're not talking about black people today.
Oh.
Let's get into Leo Skeppy.
Ooh. So what's going on with the Leonards? What is his full name? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about the content creator Leo Skeppy, who has been going through some fat-phobic allegations put on him after a video that he put out.
Before we play this clip for y'all, I don't know if this video was in direct response to Fanita in a video she posted a little bit prior, but she was talking about brands not being inclusive of bigger people and bigger sizes, and basically stores stopping at like extra large and maybe a 1X if you're lucky. But then she also talked about the fact of like clothes for bigger people and bigger sizes are not cute. So I don't know and cannot confirm if this video that Leo Skeppy made was in response to that, but he did it seemed to me that it was in response to this, but this is what he said, and we'll insert this clip for y'all right here.
Brand not making your size in something does not give you grounds to talk shit and degrade the brand. Brands are allowed to want a certain look and image with their products. They are allowed to make things for the people they want to make them for. I've been seeing too many people talking shit recently, and it's pissing me off. People are allowed to have preferences, and brands are allowed to create an image with what they want and have a specific type of person wear what they have. Not everybody needs to be catered to by everything and everyone. And this is a lesson I had to learn when I was fucking fat. I used to think clothes just weren't flattering. No, babe, the body wasn't fucking flattering. But a lot of brands don't make my size and a lot of shit still. And if a piece of clothing is not flattering on you, it doesn't mean the item or product is not flattering or is not good. It's not made for you. I'm a size 16 shoe. A lot of brands...
One, this goes hand in hand with what we've been talking about this entire time with Brandy Melville.
Yeah.
And brands just
crazy
simply,
how this all came out within the same time.
Literally, and brands simply just not being inclusive because they simply don't have to, and nobody's really going to check them on it, which is the sad part. I think Leo Skeppy falls into the category of people who were formerly fat now losing weight and thinking that they were better. They're better than a specific group of people, and I don't like that. I also very much agree with Vanita's point in her original video and just a bunch of the videos that she's made and a bunch of the things that people have talked about. Even Trisha Paytas has talked about this, of how like clothing in bigger sizes, it doesn't sell because it's not cute. Why can you not just make all of the same items and just have them go up to larger sizes? I feel like,
you critique them to make sure that people of those body types will feel confident.
Exactly. Just because I wear a 3X doesn't mean I can't wear a cute dress or a cute top or whatever the case is. I'm not deserving of that.
You have every right to have those options.
Exactly. So I think Leo Skeppy, I think he was trying to mask this as like a hot take, y'all finna be on my ass, and I think he also felt like he could say that because he was like, oh, I used to be fat. One, read the fucking room. Two, we do not agree with your opinion. And three, it's not a fucking hot take. It's fat phobic, and it's
internalized.
Yeah, it's just like. Go ahead, Tiff. I saw that and I said, I just scrolled right on by. I was like, I don't even want to engage in the discourse because you sound a mess.
The issue for me is,
but I also think sorry.
No,
I also think the crazy part about this, I know he fully believes what he's saying and he's standing by it, because even in his quote unquote apology video, he did not give a damn. He was just like, okay, whatever. Like I said, what the fuck I said. If y'all don't like it, y'all don't like it. Literally, that's how he sounded.
From my understanding, Leo Skeppy is supposed to be the person who posts motivational content, considering he had been through a lot in his lifetime. And when you see people who...
The folks get a little coin.
Put themselves out as very much love yourself, be confident in yourself, and then it comes to things like body size, and y'all are sitting here and not only bashing your past self, but belittling others who are still plus size, or who are plus size, whether like, and this is also my thing. There's people who choose to be at the body that they are at, and that should be okayed. There are people who can't help the fact that they're at the body type that they are at, and that should be okay too. Like, whether or not, like, if you are happy in the body that you're in, or you're comfortable within the body that you're in, I don't think you should let society sit there and make you feel that you have to change yourself to fit the standards. I
just also don't know when. Well, I guess I do know when. Like, it's been around forever, but like, why is fat bad? Skinny don't automatically mean healthy. Skinny don't automatically mean healthy.
And that's the misconception. A lot of people are like, well, when you're overweight, you know, it can direct you to a lot of, you know, health issues. The same thing happens for people who are underweight. The same thing can happen to somebody who's at the best of their condition.
Y'all doctors now. Everybody went to medical school.
every day. Some people even turn vegan. And unfortunately, there are just certain things that are brought upon us that are out of our control. Yes, there are certain, medical conditions that certain body types are more susceptible to. But you sitting there and belittling people or telling people they have to change their bodies is not helping anything. And it's never brought up in the conversation if somebody's underweight. Exactly. It's never, or if somebody is of the body type that y'all consider to be ideal. And so that's the issue really that I have with people who are fat phobic, because they're not allowing people to be in their own space, and they're treating people and othering people a certain way because it's uncomfortable for y'all. It goes back into, and it's not to compare, but it goes back into, being of a certain race and how people or being of a certain shade or a color, and how people, interact around you and how they speak to you and how they treat you. And we see that show up in different ways for people who are plus size. And so, for Leo to specifically, the one thing that triggers me the most out of that whole video is if a brand makes clothes and it doesn't look good on you, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with the clothes. It means there's something wrong with you. Yeah. And the issue I have with that, he said your body type, whatever the case may be, he's talking about the person, right? And the issue I have with that is, if the clothes were designed at the size that they were supposed to be designed at, why wouldn't you ensure that they look good on somebody of that size? That makes no sense to me. It's the whole point of fucking fashion. That's the whole point of fucking designing clothes, is it not?
Well, we know fashion been fat phobic and racist for a long time now, but we're not going to get into that today because it's a very long conversation.
Right.
I also think this just opens up the conversation for, and y'all do this with people that are gay and queer as well. Y'all be too motherfucking worried about what other people have going on. Somebody being fat don't concern you.
Has nothing to do with you.
It don't have nothing to do with you.
Has nothing to do with you.
Somebody being gay don't have nothing to do with you.
It's somebody not harming you. It's not impeding on your lifestyle, your health. If somebody is living the way that they are living, let them be themselves. What the fuck? I'm sorry, I'm getting heated. I'm getting heated because I don't like this rhetoric. I don't like this rhetoric. And it's really upsetting because I did follow Leo for a while and I thought he was a really funny guy. And I liked some of the motivational things and I respected his story. But it's things like this where I have to... I need him to be able to realize that what he said was very hurtful. And, apology videos are annoying. But also, too, I just need him... I need him to do the work because what he said was not okay. And as someone who previously was plus size, it's hurtful to see how he looked at his previous self.
I also think
you should be, to me, if anything, when you're, evolving, changing, whatever the case may be, you should always look back at your past version of yourself and love on that person. Give them the credit because they're the reason why you are the person you are today. Mm-hmm. And to me, he just completely diminished his past self.
Well, the other issue with this also is that it's too many people that will not admit that they agree with that.
Well, and I saw a couple of videos that said the most fat phobic people are previously plus size folks.
Yes, no, but I'm just saying it's so many people just out in life that agree with that. That'll never admit it, but they agree with that and are out here silently going, "Ooh, he getting eaten up for something I agree with." And tip of the day before we move on, worry about yourself.
Mind your business.
Mind your business and stop attempting to make life harder for other people. Being more inclusive actually makes your life better. Why is everybody not deserving of nice things?
I'm telling you, you will be so much more happier when you stop worrying about what other folks got going on. And when you start allowing yourself to love each and every person around you. There's people who will do me so dirty, I will still have love for them. And that's why, because if you have love for people, you realize when you sit there and you do everything to hate or dislike a person, you don't realize you are losing control of what you have going on in your life. You don't realize that that is holding you back from whatever it is that you want to achieve. And also, too, negative energy carries. When you walk into the room, people can sense the type of person you are.
What did that girl say on TikTok? Her aurora was bad. Her aurora. But
Not her aurora.
Her aurora.
Instead of her aura?
Yeah, she said her aurora. I said, girl, bye.
But we knew she meant.
We did. But yeah, worry about yourself. Give out good energy. Leo's Skeppy been getting ate up as he should. But
I hope that he's able to do the work of understanding how what he said was harmful.
I don't think he's going to.
I want him to learn. And yeah, I want him to learn. I want him to fully apologize, because they feel like we didn't really get a real apology.
And we're probably not going to get one based off what he said. I think we'll get one out of, here, y'all my ass, damn, here, you know, but I don't think we're going to get one for real. But anyway, before we keep talking in circles, fashion fodder we did during the post, because Brandy Melville was the fashion fodder.
Well, the beauty and fashion segment.
Yeah, the beauty and fashion segment.
Girl,
that was
let's
Brandy.
talk.
Yes, Girl, Let's Talk. That was Brandy Melville. So we're going to skip that one today, and we're going to move into the Martini Club. We don't have a submission today.
Okay.
If you do have one, please send them to femininechaospodcast@gmail.com, or please go to our Instagram at feminine.chaos and hit our link tree and send a submission through our Google form there.
Yeah.
We would love to hear y'all's messy stories. I want to talk about the final straw in relationships. I saw a video today. Well, I saw a tweet that was then quoted with the video, and the tweet was talking about how can you be so in love with somebody for 2 years, claim you want to get married to them, you're engaged to them, and one day they just end it all. The tweet was then quoted with the video of a woman saying how it always starts off with one fixable problem, then your spouse or partner, which is probably a man, is not fixing said problem. And then that one very small, which was a very small fixable problem, turns into now reflecting on other small fixable problems to the point where they now become attractive. So I just want to talk about what are some indicators for you where you have looked in the past and been like, oh, babes, I'm done with this relationship. And it could be a big fight or a big blow up, or like, what are little things you've looked at that have just been like, oh yeah, I'm done. Because I have had a couple situations where I've just thought, and I said, yeah, nothing happened, but I said that to me was an indicator that I need to move on.
I think it's more of like my actions and seeing how I've reacted to things and realized that person is not worthy of that reaction. And when somebody pulls something out of me that causes me so much hurt and pain, I realize it's just not worth it for me anymore. Like, and unfortunately, some of my friends have to help me realize that. A last like major situation that I was in, I remember I sat down with my friend who I hadn't hung out with in maybe weeks, maybe a couple months. And I was just catching her up on my life and telling her things that I had gone through with this person. And she said to me, if you don't call him right now and end things with him. But I had a very good friend at the time tell me, the next time this shit happens to you, you call me. She said, because I would have never allowed for you to get as far as you did. And I will never forget that, because she said all of that to me because when she was protecting me, and two, she knew that what I was going through, I shouldn't have allowed. And clearly I was in a very vulnerable space where I was not able to realize that I should have been recognizing red flags and instead protecting myself and leaving that relationship because it was sucking the life out of me. That person was a leech.
The energy demons.
Bad energy. So that being said, for me, it was like, if you get me to a point where I'm upset or crying, or there's something that I'm really like vocal about and you're not recognizing it, and it gets me to a space of where I don't recognize who I am, I gotta get up out of there. So yeah, that's what the cutoff is for me.
I feel I've been in so many situations as of recent now where I've said this on this podcast before. I think I'm getting strict.
What's that video? He said, I'm strict.
I'm strict. Let's insert that video right here.
People be asking me why I'm not in a relationship, why I never have nobody, this and the third. And to be honest, I'm just strict as fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? I do not play. I gets the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? You can ask around. They're going to let you know. They're blocked. If you do anything that just annoys me a little bit, I got to block you on everything, including your parents. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, bro, like, it's not a game. You're going to sit up here and go a couple days without hitting me up. Okay, well, you won't hit me up for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? You're blocked. I also feel like if we get into an argument within the first 3 to 6 months, and it's like on some real shit, like we arguing about some real shit, yeah, you got to go. Because, like, how we arguing during the cupcake stage? That's crazy to me, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, I just feel like it should be no problems within that first 3 to 6 months. Like, we can argue about some stuff like, oh, I put pineapples on my pizza, or I hate pineapples. Like, we can argue about something like that, but we over here talking about something, why are you testing other people? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we arguing about that right now? This is not the time for that. That's how you get cut. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like if you arguing during that time, the cupcake stage, just imagine what y'all finna be doing in the next 2 years, bro. It's not gonna work. That's a sign, bro. Like, y'all, I don't know. My mom always used to say when we was growing up, like, you never know what people put up with to be in relationships. And the older I get, the more I realize, like, most people are always in relationships because they're always settling. Like, and I'm not settling for nothing. I'm in my 20s, bro. Like, what the fuck you think this is? You're getting chopped. Like,
I love that video. Baby, I'm really strict for real. Like, and I used to not be.
But you have to.
But you have to be. And I
to protect
encourage
yourself.
Everybody out there to be strict. And I'm quick to send a text message to end things immediately.
Yeah.
I was dealing with somebody, I don't want to say recent. Mm-hmm. Recent-ish. It was last year, so recent-ish.
Okay.
I met somebody on Hinge and I was talking to them for probably almost 2 months, at the max 2.5 months. But because they did not live in the same city that I did, we were starting to talk a lot. So we were really getting to know each other. Mm-hmm. After a while, when somebody does not live in your same city, all you have is phone call. And all you have is text message. So if you can't even show up for that, that's a problem.
There's
to
no
me.
relationship.
It's really no relationship, because it's like, I can't even come see you, at least right now.
Yeah.
And so after my birthday, I sent them a very long text message, and I was just kind of like, this does not work for me. Mm-hmm. The communication does not work for me. And it also, I like to talk often, because I feel like I talk to my homegirls and my best friends every day. And if you're going to be somebody instrumental in my life, I would like to talk to you almost every day.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel. And some people may not want or agree with that. I don't really give a damn. That's how I feel. Because that's like a non-negotiable for me. And she just wasn't doing what needed to be done. And I took it upon myself. In the past, I probably would have let it, because Tiffany knows I've let a lot of shit slide in the past, and I should not have.
We both have done a lot of things that we've cursed one another out for.
Yes. We've both been on the receiving end of choice words about people we need to leave alone.
Leave alone, yes.
But no, I fully pulled her aside, and I was just like, this is not gonna work for me. And she tried to correct it, and she was like, please, like, I'll fix it, da-da-da. And I was like, nope. Because also, this is now my third time coming to talk to you about saying, hey, also, she worked from home. Mm-hmm. You have the time to be talking to me. Sorry. You have the time to be talking to me.
Sorry.
You're WFH. Why are you not speaking
Not
to me?
WFH.
You're WFH. Why are you not talking to me right now? So that is something that little things where I've just been like, okay. But I think, ladies, let me tell you right now.
Ladies.
Get strict. For real.
A great way of getting strict.
And let people know you stand on business from the beginning.
Yeah.
For real, like, let people know that you are not to be played with from the jump. Do not let people play in your face, especially if they want you.
Yeah.
Especially if they come after you first. And maybe I'm not really the one to be giving advice, but shit, get strict.
I think the best way to get strict too is writing down like a list of dating boundaries, future partner boundaries, things that you know you will not put up with, things that you know you will not allow yourself to go through again. I think when you have like a set of guidelines that helps you be able to deal with future relationships, that's something that I feel like has changed a lot of what I had going on. I was dating like 3 men at once not too long ago, and I had to cut all of them off. And it wasn't that they were bad people per se. It was just more of, there was just things about each person that I was just like, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Because of this reason, because of that reason, I could see how things will in the future go down. Yeah.
I remember I was fucking with somebody in college, and it was like in college and a little bit outside of college. They made one comment to me that unraveled 2 years of everything. And it wasn't even directed at me. It was just, I heard it in passing in a conversation we were having. And
What
I
was
said
it that you heard?
we were talking to each other. But it was to
Me?
Redacted. No. The conversation was with Redacted.
Okay.
And we were talking, and at this time, I fully believed that we were dating.
Oh,
I guess that we were not. I fully believed that we were dating.
I don't know what this is.
And one day, we're having a conversation, and this person tells me that one day I'm gonna find a woman that's worthy of being my wife.
I'm sorry. Why would you say that to me?
I'm sorry. Are we not dating right now?
What's going on? If that's how you felt, you should have kept that to yourself.
Are we not dating right now?
First of all, I'm sorry. Your nail color distracted me.
Oh, I'm dead.
This is a cute baby pink.
Thank you. I thought we were dating right now.
Niggas have audacity. That's what I will say. Niggas have audacity.
Now, I didn't leave at that moment. I should have. But in that moment was when it clicked to me, and I was like, this person does not fuck with you.
Yeah, because
they actually hate you. They actually hate you. And
they would never say that. Not to you. They would say that maybe to their friend.
But I also think beware of being in, and that also taught me something of being aware of people that are in relationships with you to humble you.
Niggas are weird for that. I don't like that. And I just recently dealt with a guy like that, and I had to cut him off.
The time. I was with somebody very, very recently that was in attempt to do that, and I should have cussed them out on my way out, but I did not.
Wait.
Get strict. That's all I got to say.
Right.
I don't want to keep talking to you, so that's all I got to say.
Well,
you want to add anything else?
That's all I got to say for this episode.
Thanks for coming to our podcast, Yana. Oh, do you have any crushes right now?
Crushes?
Yeah, are you gonna, I feel like I like asking people if they have like a crush. Do you have a crush? I have a crush right now.
I've been trying to actively partake in the 4B movement, so I'm not a person.
Not a man. Well, I don't have a crush on. Oh, sorry.
I don't have a crush on anyone.
Oh, I have a crush.
Okay, you tell me this.
I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
I'm just asking.
Who do you have a crush on?
this very nice looking person.
Okay, yeah, you gonna have to show me after this. Because this is the first time I've even hearing that. No, personally, I'm sick of people. I'm sick of humans. So I don't really have a crush, nor have I put myself in a space to have a crush, I guess. I ever since I kind of deleted the dating app.
Yeah, I deleted mine as well.
I have not really been interested in human life. So
Humanoids.
I'm just like, maybe it's time to.
Yeah, I'm also, unless God puts somebody dead in my path.
God would not even have to put somebody in my path, but have to put somebody like
they have to be in my face.
my person in my path for me to snap out of this right now, because I'm strict. I'm strict now.
Yeah.
I can't hold you.
And I'm even, also, side note, stop getting on dating apps looking for friends. I got to say it. Sorry.
Yikers.
It creates too much room for confusion.
I had a past date ask me if we would promote a business of his on our podcast.
No, we will not.
After ghosting me.
No, this is feminine chaos, not man chaos. He needs to keep that.
No, this is feminine chaos, not men chaos.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Such a fucking bar.
Masculine chaos. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Good night. Okay. You guys show me this question. Let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up, y'all.
Thank y'all for... I'm sorry.
She's spilling stuff on the couch.
Don't tell Taryn.
But
Taryn, if you
thank
watching,
y'all for joining us.
Y'all know where to follow us. Follow the pod, feminine.chaos on TikTok, Instagram, Feminine Chaos Podcast on YouTube. But you know where to follow Chandler and me.
And Parkwood, email us at femininechaospodcast@gmail.com. And we're about to go grab a drink. And we hope y'all have a great day. Cheers, bitch.
Cheers, bitch.